It was supposed to be the happiest flight of her life. A young black engineer, Nyla Thompson, had finally earned her promotion, her first-class ticket, a symbol of years of hard work. But minutes before takeoff, whispers began. A flight attendant frowned, then called security. Within seconds, the celebration turned into humiliation. Passengers stared, phones recording, as Nyla was dragged from her seat, accused of sitting where she didn't belong. What they didn't know was that this act of cruelty would trigger a reckoning that reached the top floors of corporate power. Watch until the end. Wait a second, tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Nyla Thompson was the kind of woman who quietly made things happen. A software engineer from Atlanta, she had worked 12-hour days for years, climbing through a field that often reminded her she didn't fit the mold. When her company announced a partnership meeting in San Francisco, she was chosen to represent the team, a moment of pride she had earned through brilliance and grit. Her mother cried when she heard Nyla had booked first class. "You deserve it, baby," she said. For Nyla, it wasn't about luxury. It was about being seen finally as someone who belonged. As she walked through the airport, she felt a mix of excitement and relief, the kind that comes when you realize your sacrifices might finally be worth it. But sometimes the world has a cruel way of reminding you that success doesn't erase prejudice. The boarding line moved slowly, but Nyla didn't mind. She smiled at the flight attendant, handed over her ticket, and stepped into first class. The seats gleamed like something out of a dream. She placed her laptop in the compartment, sat down, and let out a deep breath. For once, she didn't have to prove herself. Or so she thought. A man in a navy suit across the aisle gave her a sharp look. Then another. His expression turned from curiosity to irritation. Moments later, he whispered to the flight attendant, who frowned and disappeared toward the back. Minutes passed. Then, 2 uniformed security guards approached. "Ma'am, can we see your ticket?" Nyla blinked, confused, but handed it over. One of them squinted at the seat number. "This section is for first class." Her throat tightened. "I know," she said softly. But before she could explain further, the man in the suit spoke up. "She's lying. I saw her board from the economy." Passengers turned. The whispers grew louder, their eyes heavy with judgment. The attendant returned, her voice clipped. "Please come with us." Nyla's mind raced, every cell screaming that something wasn't right. She had the receipt, the boarding pass, everything. Yet none of it mattered, because in that moment her skin spoke louder than her words. Nyla stood frozen as one of the guards grabbed her arm. The room tilted, the cameras, the stares, the shame. "You're making a mistake," she managed to say, but her voice trembled. Someone muttered, "Typical." That word hit harder than any shove. They pulled her down the aisle, her shoes scraping against the carpet, her dignity unraveling with every step. Outside the plane, tears blurred her vision. Security rechecked her ticket, their faces changing when they realized she was right. Her name, her seat, her payment, all valid. The attendant's voice cracked. "Oh, there must have been a mix-up." But the cameras had already captured everything. And within hours, so would the world. By the next morning, the video had spread like wildfire. Millions watched as Nyla was dragged from first class for daring to exist where prejudice said she shouldn't. The airline issued an apology, but the damage was done. Then something unexpected happened. The company's CEO, an African-American woman who had faced her own battles, flew to Atlanta to meet Nyla personally. She didn't offer empty words. She changed the policy. New anti-bias training, a diversity task force, public accountability. Nyla's humiliation became the spark that forced an entire industry to confront its reflection. She still couldn't erase that flight from her mind, but she had turned pain into power. The question now was, How many more Nylas would it take before equality stopped being progress and finally became the norm? Take care.